Okay, so I thought I'd follow where Dan Brooks left those comments for me. So sure enough, on the CDC page, I had, you know, as I said before in my documentary, I've asked them all these questions, and they didn't respond. And I put it on their page, of course, right? So I've gone over this before, and then there was a bunch of replies. I was pretty well bashed. The replies are hidden now, as you can see. Gosh, let me go back up here and see where I responded. At least I can see my responses, you see. And so with Dan Brooks, I tagged him, which is gone now, which probably means he's blocked me or something, because I tagged his name. I know I did, because I always do when I respond. Everybody does. And I asked exactly what you want proof of, and I'll provide the links. And he must have said something or other, but now it's gone. And I explained it's an exact quote from the study by Chen Dong et al. When quoting studies, it is protocol not to change the actual words. And the point is that study highlights the fact that roundworms were not the source of the Wolbachia. It points to a mosquito as the source of this infection, a mosquito infected with Wolbachia. And as you know, I've said Wolbachia-infected mosquito releases have been carried out pretty much in the exact areas where Zika outbreaks have occurred, and the people promoting these are trying to convince everyone that Wolbachia does not infect humans. Obviously it can. In Brazil, culex appear to have 2 mitochondria. This was likely driven by Wolbachia as well. Here's my simplest article about it. I have over 20. So he must have said something back. Oh, he probably said something back about me being an anti-vaxxer or something. I can't remember offhand. But I said, for the record, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, and the scientists and doctors I'm in contact with have both understood my articles and my posts. If you don't, I can't help you. My first post here is not an article, it's a post. It's shortened. And then, as you know, this Adriel Damasceno Fugel was somebody who's bullied me previously, pretty well saying, you again, why don't you go away? And actually I responded to her that Dr. Ayers, Hunter, and Leal have almost entirely debunked the studies that pointed to Aedes as the sole vector of Zika. And frankly, Japanese encephalitis has multiple genus of mosquito vectors, including, I think, 9 species of culex. So what is the big deal if culex and Aedes are both vectors of Zika? And somebody, I guess, mentioned about what health background I had, and I mentioned I have 3 health disciplines. I was a frontline SARS worker. So yeah, not a scientist. So I guess I have a feeling what he was trying to say is, you're not a scientist, so what do you know, right? And then Dan Brooks must have said something about him being a scientist. I'm not sure, but I said, and Dan Brooks is an authority. And then this person, Renee F. Najir, Rose, can you show us evidence where culex and other species were not investigated? Just because something is not published doesn't mean it's not done, which sounds so ridiculous. So anyway, I responded to that person. I have over 20 articles, the citations. I'm working on documentary. I don't have room for all the ethical scientists to list here. And didn't you just answer your own question? Why should anyone trust the CDC? I mean, they promoted their flawed triplex assay for 4 months, even though Dr. Lanciotti sounded the alarm in April 2016. And instead of listening to him, an esteemed and highly respected scientist, he has like over 20 years experience, the CDC punished him. A lot of culex in Puerto Rico. There doesn't need to be all culex in one area. There's culex and Aedes there. I believe both are vectors, but I believe culex along with Wolbachia are causing the worst manifestations of Zika. And then I explained how when 70% of Yaps Islands was infected, there was no evidence of Aedes aegypti as a vector, as a culprit there. And it was very rare and absent, almost completely absent on the islands where the vast majority of Zika cases occurred. So as you can see, I explained that with quotations from respectable scientists. And it showed where Dr. Ayers entirely debunked the earlier studies which pointed exclusively to Aedes as the only possible vectors. And then the entirely ignored study, which I found, I added by Gu al, and that the CDC downplayed the sexual spread and didn't even recognize it as an STD until August 2016. And some places, 47% of cases in Barranquilla, Colombia, as many as 47% of Zika cases reported there emerged from sexual contact. So I guess that's the end of that troll bashing there. But gee whiz, I sure wonder if that's the same Dan Brooks that I just wrote to. And if it is, well, he certainly appears to be part of the team that wants to question my integrity. And that's it. Just want to show you.